Tonight, the Eastern Pacific scores its second invest of the season. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for May 26th. Quiet times return to the tropics tonight as no-name storms are currently out and about. However, there are some rumblings and an invest to discuss as 26 storms have formed so far this year, fittingly on May 26th, 2022. With just under a week to go until hurricane season starts here in the Atlantic, we see no sign of activity here, there, or anywhere in this part of the world. Those hoping for an early start, well, I hate to disappoint, but it's not looking likely. Over on the other side, it's day 12 of hurricane season in the Eastern Pacific, and we have 91E closest to the coast of Mexico, with an 80% chance of formation in 5 days. To its west is another area of interest without an invest number, with a 20% chance of formation, both of those being within the 5-day period. The previous area of interest present in last night's bulletin has gone completely, but it has been replaced with a new AOI, which we have given a 20% chance over the next 5 days. This one is expected to take a more westerly track before taking a northward curve in the day 4-5 range. Over in the North Indian Ocean, things are once again quiet, with nothing expected to develop here within the next 5 days. Down south, things have been silent for a good while now. Hopefully, this is an indication that the seasons down here are at an end. Again, things are quiet down in the Australian region. It has been for quite some time. So once again, we believe the season here is done. But things could change very quickly, although they are not likely to at all, at least within the next 5 days. No activity is expected down in the Southern Pacific either. So once again, hopefully this means that the entire Southern Hemisphere is done, at least for now. Jumping into satellite views now, and there is not really a lot to report on here aside from thunderstorm activity in the Central and South America, as well as in the Caribbean. 91E remains quite the looker with its 80% chance as it continues to develop south of Mexico. To the west is an uninvested AOI with a 20% chance, but this one's looking small but fierce as it also continues to develop, although, like I just said, chances are low for this system, 20% within 5 days, you know the drill. Over in the Western Pacific, an AOI to the east of the Philippines continues westward with a 20% chance. However, like I said earlier, this is expected to recurve northwards in a few days. And once again, other than that, there's not really a lot else to report on in the tropics in this part of the world. And once again, nothing is looking favourable for development over here in the North Indian Ocean. Again, nothing is really expected here from now into 5 days. On to the sea surface temperatures, the Western Pacific piping hot with mostly 29-degree waters, but some areas of 30-degree temperatures. The Bay of Bengal remaining at 29 degrees, but there's a pocket of 30 off the coast of Bangladesh. The Arabian Sea also registering around 28 to 29, but it's warming up with a huge pocket of 30-degree waters right slap bang in the middle of the Arabian Sea. Here we go. The tropical Atlantic is also warming up with 28-degree waters in the main development region. The tropical Eastern Pacific largely around 26, but warming the further east you go. I believe that could be up to 30 degrees. Again, the La Nina still remains prevalent around the equator of this region. The Central Pacific also registering 26 and slightly affected by the La Nina that's currently in effect. Bringing things over to the north coast of Australia, once again reaching temperatures of around 28 degrees, and the southwest Indian Ocean cooling off with around 26 to 27 degree waters. Sea surface temperature anomalies, the eastern and central Pacific remain mostly below average. You can thank the La Nina for that, which you can really see it on this map right about now. It's in full swing, also extending over into the western Pacific slightly, which is also warmer than average. The Atlantic is also pretty much above, the Bay of Bengal mostly below average, with a pocket of above average right off the coast of Bangladesh. The Arabian Sea is basically a mishmash of below, at, and above average. The southwest Indian Ocean and southern Pacific are pretty much all over the place, but mostly above. Bringing things over to the oceanic heat content, we were starting off with the Atlantic, remaining pretty low for the time being, but it's slowly getting there. Progress is being made, but like I said, it's pretty slow. Over on the Pacific side of things, the western Pacific is full of energy with a lot of red in that one area, and if you just compare that to the eastern Pacific, it's really quite sad. Again, the eastern Pacific remaining with a tiny blob of red, which, mind you, is slowly getting bigger. Once again, with the Atlantic, it's slowly getting there, but if you just compare the two of them side by side, it's really just quite sad. On this day just last year, we were dealing with Cyclone Yas, which made landfall 1 year on the day today on the Odisha coastline as a Category 1 equivalent cyclone. I also believe nothing else was active on this day as well. It was just Cyclone Yas making landfall today last year. And that brings us over to the naming lists. We have the first name of the Atlantic is Alex, then followed by Bonnie. First up in the Eastern Pacific is Agatha, followed by Blas. We could be seeing Agatha fairly soon, but just don't count on it. And up next in the Central Pacific, do I have to really repeat myself for like the 900th time? It's Hone. Over in the Western Pacific, on list 4, up next is Chaba, followed by Airy. Up next in the North Indian, it's Sitrang, followed by Mandus. And bringing things over to the Southern Hemisphere, which is hopefully done by now, the next up is Darien, followed by Ellie. Up next in the Southwest Indian is Latlama, followed by Maipalo. And finally, up next in the South Pacific, it's Hale. That's all from me for now. We'll see you for another Tropic Weather Bulletin tomorrow night.